Good evening. This is Gloria Taylor Brown. I'm bringing you a gathering of priestesses. This is our 45th edition, and our guest tonight is the wonderful artist and author Carol Hiltner. She's coming to us from Seattle, Washington. Carol is a really exceptional person. She's been to Russia, I think 12 or 13 times now. How many times have you been to Russia, Carol?
More.
Huh?
Probably 20, 25.
20? Yeah, and she usually goes to Siberia and goes way, way back into the back country, and she's going to be telling us some about that. She's also going to be showing us some of her art, which is really spectacular, and I hope you'll really enjoy it. And in addition, we have with us, of course, our dear and lovely Miss Catherine Ravenwood, Reverend Catherine Ravenwood, who is our co-host, and she is going to be with us this evening as well. And I want to thank you for being there and thank you for being present. As we know, the show doesn't work unless Catherine is on here. So Raven is required. We don't know why. She can't do the tech part. She doesn't do the guest part. She doesn't do the marketing, but somehow or another she's required. It just doesn't happen otherwise. So anyway, I'm Gloria Taylor Brown, and we have been having a conversation over the past few months about what it means to be a priestess and why we would want to be a priestess. So if you have any questions, I'd love to have you put in some comments into the chat section. You can also send me comments later, whether or not you are coming in from YouTube at a later date or coming in from the replay. We have many opportunities for you to see this. We also have a Gathering of Priestesses, which is a group on Facebook, and you can join that. And that group contains all the past issues so that you can see. And also we have quite a few people who are now posting their events. It's becoming a very interactive group, and I hope you'll join us and take a look and arrange for it to be part of your life. We're now up to, I think it's 225 members, so I'm real pleased with that. Considering I haven't paid Facebook anything to build that, and they keep asking for more money. Anyway, let's not go down that road. I'd like to introduce you to our dear Carol Hiltner. And Carol, the one question we always ask our guest is, what brought you on to the path of a priestess?
And my answer to that is that I was born that way. I've always known that I was to be of service to humanity, and it wasn't until I was in my 30s that I finally started getting some direction as to what I was supposed to be doing, what my task was, and that started with dreams, and followed by visions. I started seeing visions that related to the people that were around me, and I made paintings and quilts, and you have some of them there to show if you want to put one up, Gloria.
Okay, well, we'll start with a show. We've got quite a few pieces to show, and see, I have to do this, and I have to go to share, and then I have to go, back. That's not what we want. Hang on a minute. Play from start.
Oh, so what I was thinking is that we could go back and forth, and I could talk to each of the pictures.
Yeah, hang on a minute. And what are we seeing? No, I'm not seeing it. Okay, now you're seeing the images from me. So I'm going to put that up there, and you keep talking about. Tell me about them, and tell me when you want to go to the next image. All right?
Seeing Raven. At least I'm seeing Raven.
Well, you have to click on me, and what will be recorded is what is on my screen.
Okay, well, I'm not getting you at all.
Carol, do you see the artwork?
No.
Down at the bottom.
Oh, I'm seeing Raven. I'm seeing myself. I'm seeing a black square for Gloria.
Click on the back square.
I did.
And are you seeing the art?
Technical difficulties.
Sorry, folks. I know that you're seeing the art, but Carol isn't seeing it. Carol, the first image is the woman with a ball and a light, I think.
Right, and that is, well, every artist basically makes a series of self-portraits. That's what we do, and so that was one of my first visions, and I painted that using fiber reactive dye on fabric, and that to me represents the crystal ball and the light, you know, the vision and the illumination and the vision.
How long ago did you make this one?
I made that in 1984. So, whoa, is that 30 years ago? 30 years ago.
All right. And talk a little bit about your process, because you said you did it with fiber reactive dyes. So
Yeah,
is it like silk painting?
it was on cotton, but I was also painting on silk. And that was what I was aware of at the time. I never considered myself particularly to be an artist. I sort of backed into that. Discovered that I'm really not anything else.
So Carol, the purple frame that is circular around it, it is so three-dimensional. It looks like somebody cut out a piece of paper and stuck it right on my computer screen.
Well, it's quilted.
Incredibly three-dimensional.
It's three-dimensional. It's quilted.
I mean, coming across a flat computer screen, it's leaping out at me like it was pasted onto my screen. It's beautiful.
That's the effect of my art.
Oh, it's wonderful.
Yeah. So that one actually is one of my favorite paintings of any that I've done. So the next one, if you want to click on the next one, it's hands. And it's all the hands that we have, that nature has. And it's the flower with the petals as hands.
Okay, it looks like a chrysanthemum.
It is a chrysanthemum.
A chrysanthemum. All right, love that. And our next image looks like some koi.
Yeah. So I had started seeing these visions, and I didn't know what to do. So I was still sort of waiting for instructions, and so I was painting. I call them yin and yang, fish and water. The water is yin, fish are yang. And so I've done a lot of those, and they make it very
Let's talk
peaceful.
a little bit about your practice, your process here, because some of it looks like it's silk painting, but some of it looks like maybe watercolor.
No, I don't do watercolor. I started out with fiber reactive dye. Actually, I started out with appliquing quilts, and then I started working with fiber reactive dyes, and then I started painting on canvas. And so the fish are painted on canvas.
Carol, what is fiber reactive dye?
It's a dye that has to be set using steam. So I would make my images, and then I would use a pressure cooker and cook them, and always added a dimension of chance.
Yeah.
Whatever I was doing.
So you could say you work under pressure.
Okay, next image is one of my favorites. It's kind of like the tower image from the tarot cards. The woman is controlling or maybe she's sourcing the power. I'm not sure which, with the lightning.
Here's what happened. With my kids, I made some peace quilts, and with their classrooms, and for friendship with Russia back in the mid-'80s. And that got me to Russia to deliver those for the first time. So in 1986, I went to Russia for the first time and started doing citizen diplomacy and was involved in that whole movement. Went to Russia back and forth several times, and realized just really how much at home I felt in that country. It's a place that I never, being a child of the Cold War, I never thought that I would be in Russia, but I found that I have big connections with that. So that's really the first part of what I would consider my life work, was the citizen diplomacy work, which got me to Russia the first time.
And this painting was one of the first paintings you did?
The painting was one of the first paintings I did, yeah. But I did it actually just before I got my second set of dreams, Siberia. And the second set of dreams was very vivid. I was awakened in the night with the words, "Please come," and there were light beings in the house, and I got up and went and sat at my computer and queried the light beings and said, "Okay, what's up?" And they told me what I was supposed to do. They told me I was supposed to go to the Altai Mountains in Siberia and open a gate and find and translate tablets of light. And I've been working on that really ever since. And that was in 1998.
And this is I don't know if this is a photograph or a painting of you against the Altai Mountains.
That's a photograph.
Okay.
That's the place that I go to. That's called Mount Beluga, a white mountain. And it's almost exactly in the center of Eurasia. It's southern Siberia, up against the border to Kazakhstan, and the Mongolia and China are within about 20 miles. So it's right at a big jumble of mountains right in the center of Eurasia.
It looks pretty steep, and you're obviously way beyond the tree line.
Yeah, well, I'm at 10,000 feet there. I'm on a pass, on a mountain pass.
Wow.
Did you hike in?
It's a 30-mile trek, 30 mile each way, 30 mile in, 30 mile out.
You don't look tired at all. You look like you're ready to do a model shoot or something. Goodness, you must be very energized there.
Oh, yeah, very much so, very much so. So I went the first time with my daughter, and didn't know what to expect, and I was hoping for fireworks and spiritual fireworks, and didn't get any, and left feeling like I had failed my life mission, and until we got as far as Moscow, which was about 3 days, 3 or 4 days out from that photo of me, and then I had another dream, and I discovered the gate. And the next picture, I think, is
the gate. I think it's the woman with the crystals on her head, and controlling.
Yeah, that's what I saw in my vision. And I want to read a little bit. I wrote a book about my adventures, and I want to read a little bit about that particular vision. Does that sound like a good idea?
Right ahead, yes.
Okay. The psychic events of the day were not over. I had been told that the reason I was to go to Beluga was to open a vortex in the energy grid of the earth, a gate, a door, between humanity and other dimensions. I had looked during the entire trek for that door, which was where I thought the visual fireworks would occur, in an opening between dimensions. As I dropped off to sleep, an image began to coalesce in my mind's eye of light glinting around the edge of a round gate or cover. I realized that I had actually been seeing this image in the back of my mind for several days. Later, I realized that I had been seeing this image my whole life. It looked like two round grids set crossways in such a way that they had to be rotated to line up. But I hadn't yet figured out how to do that. That night, I dreamed. And here's my dream. I realized clearly that I am the gate, and for it to be open, I must become transparent, which I do. Now I can see that the gate is really a passage and has length. Suddenly, my whole body is a crystal, which must be aligned with the light from the gate. I rotate myself to align the polarity, which, when it lines up, registers in my body as deep shock. Colors and patterns of the energy make kaleidoscopic shifts simultaneously inside and outside of my transparent body as I move my crystal self into place between the dimensions. This is the place and I am the door. The light from the gate is rotating and spindling out sideways like the beacon from a lighthouse. I woke abruptly then, bedazzled, excited, exhausted. Here were the visual fireworks I'd sought, breathtakingly beautiful, deeply profound. But oh, what a deep shock this was to my body. I needed to sleep now, to sleep forever. The timing had been perfect, I realized. I never could have managed this while we hiked. And when I got that dream, I slept around the clock for 4 days.
Wow. It's an incredibly powerful image. I always have thought so. So, you're reading from Tablets of Light, right? The Altai Chronicles?
The Altai Chronicles, Tablets of Light.
Yeah. Okay. So the next image is the helmet.
Okay. What happened was I still didn't know what the tablets were or where they were, and so I went back again the next year, and in the middle of the Siberian wilderness, in the middle of the night, I had a dream that Thoth had assembled all the entire pantheon of gods and was handing me a helmet. And when he handed me the helmet, it changed from being sort of lead to sort of like silver. And when I put it on my head, it became light. And I woke up just blinded with light into the pitch black of Siberian night. And 2 days later, while we were going over the pass where I was in that earlier picture, we were in a thunderstorm, we were in a lightning storm, and I grounded lightning. And I don't know if the helmet protected me or drew the lightning or both. But
when you say you grounded lightning, you're saying you got hit by lightning.
Well, it wasn't a big crack snap. What it was that the charge was in the air, and it was grounding through me. Felt like bee stings, and when I realized what it was, I ran down the hill as fast as I could, and that's how I escaped. So
they're running downhill. I think the picture of you.
A picture of the pass, me with the helmet of light, like really wondering what I got myself into. And at that point, I still hadn't figured out what the tablets of light were. And since then, when I figured it out, it became very obvious that the tablets of light are the Akashic records. And that, as far as translating them, each person's life is a translation of energy into light waves, into waves, into patterns. And so I presume what was meant by me translating the tablets of light is that I'm to live my life and encourage other people to live their lives too, and that it makes a difference because you really make a permanent record. Mm-hmm. With your actions, your thoughts, your feelings, your experiences.
Well, we're looking at the image of the light with the two horse people looking on, and what I see in it is the DNA helix, double helix there, as well as when I look deeper, I think I can see a person standing there in the light, in the helix. Am I right?
Well, I can see it too, but I had never seen it before.
Oh.
That's the Altai people consider that their land is the umbilicus of the planet.
Mm-hmm.
And there is a huge amount of cosmic energy coming onto the planet there, and that's my painting of that. It's much bigger than that. If I'd made the two horsemen any smaller, you wouldn't have been able to see them. Mm-hmm. So made them too big. But to give the idea, but that's the energy vortex that, as I experience it, and to me, it looks like a stylized tree of life. Mm-hmm. A world. And what I experienced when I was when I painted the picture of myself as a crystal was that each of my chakras was an interdimensional portal, and that the human body is also a world tree. And so here it is in a larger format, and these horizontal lines are like planes, I would say, not airplanes, but like geometric planes. They're representations of other dimensions that are accessed through at different vibratory levels.
So, Raven, I'd like to have you chime in here because trees are sort of your area of expertise, so to speak, and also because I know that you've done some work with Kabbalah, and which is basically the tree of life. And did you see the image? Should I go back to it?
It's still there.
Oh, it's still there. All right, because I'm seeing you. All right. So in that image, as I go back there, to me, it's like there is a lot of Kabbalah-ish imagery in that painting, as well as the image of the DNA molecule, the double helix, and obviously the dancer who's dancing it all into being. So what would you say, Raven?
Talking about still with the horseman picture.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I actually don't see Kabbalah.
Okay.
I see the umbilicus.
Mm-hmm.
Very strong. That's what it looks like to me. And it's very strong, like a tree, of the spreading out as it's on the bottom of the picture. You can see where like roots spread out, the light goes out. Well, I'm pointing and you can't see that. Of course, you can't see me pointing. But like one of the
I can point.
Goes out to where the horsemen are standing, and then there's this incredible lifting up and that spiraling energy and going up and out, and I see it very strongly as an umbilicus. And I'm just sitting here going, wow. Carol, what is the medium on that?
It's acrylic on canvas.
It's gorgeous. It's very much light fibers, and it reminds me of fiber optics. But it's very beautiful and very powerful, and I'm just really taking it all in. It feels like a portal to me.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you. That's what I'm glad, because that's what I'm aiming.
Yeah, it's amazing.
I've always found this to be one of the most powerful images that Carol has done, and it's a tremendous. To me, it's like there's a real strong connection with the heart chakra. It's like I can feel it in my heart, if that makes sense. It's like right in the middle of that picture. It's like my heart connects with that image.
Mm-hmm. It's phenomenal, Carol. Very beautiful. Very powerful.
So we go on to the next image, which looks like the world birth. A much more peaceful image, the baby in the middle.
So the one we were just looking at was part of a series of 6 paintings that I painted in Seattle and rolled up and took the canvases to Russia because I knew they needed to be there.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the second. This was one of a second series of 13 paintings made for a Mayan calendar, a Russian version. And this image vision came with the symbol. And so the baby in the womb is also makes a yin yang symbol with the earth. And I've looked and looked to see what the meaning of that symbol is, and I'm really not sure.
It's New Mexico Zia symbol. It's a Pueblo symbol. And I'm trying to bring it up on the internet right now. Okay, so.
Well, what's interesting to me about it is that it has only one arm on the left-hand side.
Yeah, it's not complete, but
no, but it's Pueblo.
It's very much Pueblo, and there are some of the Pueblo.
It's very much like the Zia Pueblo here in New Mexico. This is a very famous symbol of the Zia Pueblo, and lots of times it's drawn like that instead of being filled in like this. The red and yellow is the common one. It's shown with the arms like that. Now, it would not have a single arm on that one side, but that is, you brought it up and I'm going, wow, that's the Zia. Amazing.
And so what is the meaning of it?
Well, hold on, now I've lost it. Here we go.
One of the big challenges is that I see images, and sometimes it takes me decades to figure out what they mean, what the context is for them.
Yeah, so the Zia symbol is actually the symbol of New Mexico. It's on the, or it used to be on the license plates.
Well, it is on some of them still. It's 4 directions, it's 4 elements, it's the earth, it's the sun. Let's see if I can find it on here. Here we go. The Zia Indians regard the sun as their sacred symbol. Their symbol, a red circle with groups of rays pointing in 4 directions, is painted on ceremonial vases, drawn on the ground around campfires, used to introduce newborns to the sun. Did you get that, Carol?
I love it.
Used to introduce newborns to the sun. 4 is the sacred number of the Zia and can be found repeated in the 4 points radiating from the circle. The number 4 is embodied in the 4 directions, 4 seasons, 4 periods of each day, morning, noon, evening, night, 4 seasons of childhood, youth, middle years, old age, the 4 sacred obligations one must develop: strong body, clear mind, pure spirit, and devotion to the welfare of others. But it's used to introduce newborns to the sun. I didn't know that, so there you go.
Oh, our newborn Earth is being introduced to the sun.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
So let's go to the next one.
Okay.
All time everybody's favorite.
Oh, lovely.
Now it's the Pegasus figure.
And that's the sky. They are the star right in the middle of the image is Sirius, and off to the right you can see Orion.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, that's just an image of just mind-blowing hope.
Also looks like oh, my brain just, I hate it when it does that. The Northern Lights. It looks like the Northern Lights.
That's supposed to be the Milky Way.
Mm-hmm.
There, but I took artist license.
Are those Seattle trees or Russia trees?
Well, I mean, conifer trees are conifer trees are conifer trees. I mean, they the tops of them look the same there as they do here.
Okay.
Barbara wants to know, what size is the original?
Oh, that one, the original, is 2 feet by 3 feet.
Okay. And
the previous paintings, the me with the crystal as a crystal and of the umbilicus are, oh wow, about 4.5 by 7 feet. They're big paintings.
Wow.
the ones you took to Russia, how big were they?
4.5 by 7, and then these ones, this set, this is one of the ones that I painted of the 13 moon calendar, so it's 2 feet by 3 feet, and I rolled them up and took them too.
Now those are all in Russia, the originals?
Yeah, and I took them. I knew they needed to be in Altai, but when I first started going to Altai, I didn't speak Russian, and it took me a long time to make the connections that I needed to do what I needed to do there. And so they were in Moscow for several years until I finally found people who in Altai who had a place for them.
So are they in a museum or someone's home? Where are they?
About 30 miles from Mount Beluga in a different direction, no, maybe about 50 miles, is a town called Ust-Koksa. And there is a little hotel that was brand new when I started going there, and the walls were all empty, and the man said, it's the name of the hotel is Portal Beluga. And he said his walls were empty, would I bring my paintings?
Wonderful.
And he invited me also to come and paint there, and I had received instructions to paint 52 paintings of the Sacred Feminine. And so over the course of a couple years, I went those paintings came very quickly. Let me see where we are on the paintings.
Next one is
the next one is another one of the 13 moon ones, and that is based on an internal shamanic journey that I did, where I went sort of down my digestive tract and up my spine and up into my brain, and this was before I had any context at all. It was back in the mid-'80s, and sat in a place that looked sort of like I was inside a garlic clove of, I had I don't know what you call them, a clove of garlic. And since then, I've realized that that's the pineal gland.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's my little me in the pineal gland. And that's part of that 13, those 13 paintings. Oh, the next one. The next one I painted in Siberia. It's not at the Hotel Portal Beluga. You have to look at it very closely to see what it is. There's a person sitting in samadhi.
Yeah.
In the middle.
yeah, I can see that, and coming off of the earth.
Yeah. And that one makes me spacey every time I look at it.
Now, a little Sufi dancing going on there.
Yeah. Okay, so the next one is the I guess you'd call her the goddess, giving birth to the universe, and that's the first of the sacred feminine paintings, and I painted them. They pretty much came one a day for a month, and so I painted all 52 of those paintings and painted and got about another 30 into the sacred masculine.
Mm-hmm.
Before I before I was finished, before he ran out of room in his hotel.
He's going, I'm going to have to put him on the ceiling. Yeah, but you know, that's also the Milky Way. The Milky Way is the emblem of a woman with her arms stretched up above her head, not holding her belly. But it is the symbol, and in her womb space, what is the planet that comes in there, Raven?
I don't know.
I don't remember either, but it is a symbol in Egypt that I can't think if it's Sirius or if it's Venus. In other words, if it's a planet or a star. But it is for a long time the womb space during the year is empty. And then you see the star arrived, and that was heralded as the beginning of I believe the inundation, whenever the waters of the Nile.
Isn't it the Isis star?
Yeah, but I can't remember which one it is. So that's why I'm thinking it's Venus.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
It's not Venus. No. It might be Sirius.
Might be. But anyway, so, you know, even though this is the divine feminine, again, you're back to the Milky Way image, which is, if you can lay under the Milky Way, which there's very few places you can see it without loom of light, what you have is basically the figure of a woman with her arms and her hands out, her legs outstretched, and in the middle is her womb.
Oh, you know, I've seen paintings of Isis.
Mm-hmm.
It has her like stretched.
That's Newt.
That's Newt.
Not
That's
Isis. Newt. N-U-T.
Yes. Okay.
And Isis is born of Newt.
Yes, Isis is her daughter.
So, yeah, it's a beautiful image.
Want me to go look up the star, Gloria?
Yeah, no, we'll just stay with Carol here and her imagery. So the next image we have is this beautiful woman in her red cloak who is walking towards the sunrise, I guess.
At the crossroads, there's a crossroads.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no question what direction she'll choose. Right. So that's, again, a self-portrait.
Mm-hmm.
That's wondering why year after year after year I need to go back and trek to Mount Beluga. And every year I get clearer. Every year I was able to stay, I guess, connected to my higher self longer once I came back. And I knew I was finally finished when I was able to stay connected permanently.
Mm.
In the interim,
that's quite a pilgrimage, Carol.
Oh, yeah. Well, the last trip, I was instructed that there was an energy gate to open, and that I was to take a group. And so I took a group, and we opened the energy gate, and I thought I was fine, and well, for about 24 hours I managed fine, and then I just basically fell down and didn't get up, and couldn't move, couldn't function. A light being and a Bigfoot person showed up to ground me, and that helped, and that got the group back to Novosibirsk, back to the airplane, which we were about a week away from there, and I was having a harder and harder and harder time staying, I guess, awake, staying in the physical world. And I got everybody onto the airplane and then passed out for 2 whole days, actually, not even waking up at all. And when I woke up, I was a different person. I was, and what I understand that I did was I merged with my higher self. There were people tracking, shamans tracking what we were doing, and one of them said that I shifted my dimension, my frequency substantially, which I guess is rare. And but the result was that it was really hard on my body, and I'm still now 4 years later recovering. It was a huge crunch on my physical body, because everything that couldn't manage at the higher dimensions got sort of dumped into my system, and I've been clearing it out ever since. And you helped me, Gloria, do some shamanic journeying, and I've been going back into those. It was you who first said, when I was having my experiences in Russia that were obviously some sort of trance experience, that I should go look and see what was going on in those. And you and I went on some shamanic journeys and went and did some looking. Well, I've done some looking since then, and I'm not quite sure what my conclusion is about that, except that I am continually told to be the light, and that everything follows from that. And so every time I try and do something, well, I can do it, yes, but I need to circle back or spiral back and go back into the light and reorient myself in the light. And so my work as a priestess is to on one hand to be that, and on the other hand to use the tools that I've been given to make portals for other people. My paintings are portals.
So we're on the image of you as, I don't know, the butterfly image?
Yeah. One of the things that I did was I did classes that I called Paint Light, Be Joy. And in about 3 hours, a group of people, everybody would paint. They would paint whatever. I told them that they should not start by painting a figure, that they should start by painting, letting the energy flow through their hands and to paint whatever came out. And people came up with just astonishing paintings. And so this painting is one of my painting light paintings. I did it in about an hour. And butterfly has been a motif. The metamorphosis.
And then we have the dragon.
And that's another motif for me. It has to do with being a conduit for spirit. The dragon is the spirit fire. And I've painted a lot of dragons. And I see dragons and sometimes fly as a dragon.
The dragon energy is very, very interesting. And what's interesting about the dragon energy is how different the Eastern dragon and the Western dragon is. And I don't mean just in the imagery of others, but the experience I've had of the energy of the dragon. And the dragon has been a consistent imagery for me as well. And I sometimes have to be very careful that my dragon side doesn't overwhelm my softer side, shall we say. Now, Raven's been present whenever I've, she's kind of had to go, Gloria, you're not supposed to eat the people.
So, Gloria, do you remember the water dragon?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was amazing. Gloria and I were up in Washington. Where were we? What's the bridge that the Desolation...
Desolation Sound, yeah. No, not Desolation Sound, Deception Pass.
Deception Pass, that's it. And we were doing, we took my water altar water up there, and we were pouring water around, and this incredible water dragon came out completely over all of the sound and all over the bridge. And Gloria and I were throwing water in the air to the water dragon. It was powerful. That's the only dragon I've ever seen, except for you, Gloria.
No, well, thank you.
Yes, dear.
Yeah, so we've had the experience at down at Nikki's retreat where we've gotten into the dragon energy, and it's quite interesting when you have several dragons present, because they know, it's like, as a dragon you know dragons, and you are aware of other dragons in your presence, and whenever you deal with that, it's like, the best way I can say is it's like tiptoeing over eggshells, because you know the dragons are there, you know that you are a dragon, and you know that if you're not very, very careful, that you can be very destructive, and very destructive to those around you. So you have to be very careful as you metamorphosize into the dragon. I did a story a number of years ago, and the first line of it is, "It's really hard to be a dragon when you live in the suburbs."
Yeah.
So, love your dragon. And the final image is the wizard dancing.
I'm curious about, you said East and West dragon. What's your take on East versus West dragon?
Well, the Eastern dragon is very much more of a snake dragon. The Western dragon is much heavier. I mean, just the imagery of them, it's much heavier, much more robust. But the Eastern dragon is portrayed as being that of a good luck symbol, whereas the Western dragon is portrayed as that which must be conquered so much. If in the St. George and the Dragon, it's the symbol of the Western and conquering the natural world, not being one with it. And of course, I've always loved the stories of the dragons of Pern, and that's where you get to go and ride the dragons, and that's always sounded like a really great idea to me, which is why I probably identify so well with the, what was the Blue People, Raven, that was just on? Huh?
Pleiadians?
No, the movie we watched.
Avatar.
Avatar, yeah. The idea of flying with the dragons, and the beautiful beings. But yeah, there's a whole dragon lore going back many centuries that is quite interesting, and in many ways a lot of it has been reimagined within the last 50 years or so, as the dragons have, I think they've tried to be more friendly and say, we're not the ones you want to bring out your swords and steal. It's,
We had Puff the Magic Dragon.
Yeah, he was kind of the beginning of the whole thing.
Yeah.
So then we have the Magic Man, who's dancing through the lights and strewing starshine, it looks like, behind him.
Now, isn't that what we all in our joy do?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so he's a wonderful wizard, and obviously, but it's as we move forward into creating our own universes, as we tame our own dragons, as we master our own wizards within, as we write our own Akashic record, these are all the things that we have to do. I mean, you were talking earlier about the tablets of tablets of light, but there's also the lore of the emerald tablets, which is very deep, going back at least to 500 BC and possibly going further, much further back before that. And the one that everyone is familiar with is the as above, so below, but there's a lot more information on the tablets, the emerald tablets, than just the single emerald tablet. And so, you know, that's all alchemical, shamanic wisdom that you know, the Tibetans say that the complete emerald tablets are held in some monastery in Tibet. So it's like we circle back to the symbolism and the beings of long ago who already knew what we're only just now finding out. It's like every generation has to find it out themselves.
What we're remembering, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I know that in many cases I am remembering what I used to know, and I sometimes wish that I knew more of what I used to know. Sometimes I just wish I knew where I put my keys. But yeah, I want to go on.
Carol, do you have a collection of this artwork in a book?
I do. And I have the last slide actually is a listing of where my stuff is online. And one of the things that I have done all the way along actually is when people are using the images for I guess for creative people, or when people are doing creative work, and if the images are useful, or healing work or whatever, if the images are useful to them, portals, then I am very willing for people to use them. And
well, that's very generous of you.
Yeah. Well, they're given to me as a gift, and so there's some costs regarding reproductions and things like that, and the prices that I put on them are prices that support the humanitarian work that I do with the Altai people in Siberia. But for people who are priestesses, if they just contact me.
Yeah, so we did have that information up. I've put it away. I'll put it back up at the very end here again so that people will have that as the final slide. But I want to know about the image you're in front of, because that looks like that's one of your quilts.
Yeah, it is. It was also from a dream. There was a poem that went along with it. Oh, I don't have the poem in front of me, but I'll go get it. Just a moment. The poem is worth my reading it.
We get to see the image when you're not sitting in front of it. Carol's apartment, or her house, has always been rather incredible to me. It is floor to ceiling, almost floor to ceiling art, and it's her art. And although I have a lot of paintings, not all of them are mine. And I'm really always been an admirer of Carol's work. And so I'm just delighted to be able to share it with you and to be able to share a little bit of her description of this. But she's, truthfully, I've never seen anything like Carol's work. It is very different from anybody else's out there. It's not derivative. It's original, and it's original in both theme and in the way that she has portrayed it. And I know that her painting style is very original as well. So, Carol, you have the poem?
This is the poem, and this is about the path of the priestess, actually. I'm being swept away, Mother, and running along the bank yelling, if you just get a regular job, won't stop the river. I can barely hear you above the roar anyway, Mother, and the water supports me in its bosom the way you never could. I'm frightened of drowning, Mother, as the current tumbles me. I want what you could never give me, and besides, I'm a good swimmer. Maybe it's all a dream, Mother, and I'm safe and warm. If I could breathe water, I'd never come back. It's getting easier. Goodbye.
Wow.
Wow.
That's strong. So, do you have your book there, the Tablets of Light book and the two books? If you could hold those up so we can see them. Yes, yes. Pull back just a little. There you go. This is her Tablets of Light book, and that is available from Altai Books and also .com. And is it .com?
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I think it's also available on Amazon as well.
It is, but it doesn't. They don't buy it from me. You don't buy it from me if you buy it on Amazon.
All right, so go to altaibooks.com and buy it from Carol. It's better if you buy it from Carol. Support our local artists, and our local artists are on the earth.
All of my paintings are in the gallery on altaimir.org.
Okay.
So shows in the gallery of all my paintings.
That's lovely, and thank you so much for being on tonight. I really appreciate it. And Raven, did you have anything that you wanted to say?
It was wonderful, Carol. First of all, I haven't seen you in forever, so it was wonderful to see you again. I'm having visions of us being in your dining room and having tea. It was wonderful. It's been a long, long time, and it was a wet, wonderful day in Seattle. It's been great to see you, wonderful to see your art, to hear your stories, and so blessings to you, my friend.
So, Carol, we want to really thank you, and I will put up your last screen, and we will leave that one be the last one. And but before I go, I want to say that next week I'm going to be having another friend of ours. We have lots of friends, and our friends are very talented. Miss Patricia Haynes will be on from Dallas, Texas, and she's going to be showing us some of her photographs that she has taken in Egypt. She's taken well over 2,000 photographs, and she's quite brilliant as a photographer. And she's going to be on, I think she's been to Egypt 8 or 9 times by now, at least. She just went recently with Normandy Ellis and Nikki Scully. And she will be on next week, and she's very excited and very terrified of it, so I invite you to come on and support her, and then afterwards contact her and tell her how wonderful it was. And I also want to have you contact Carol and buy her books. They really are incredible. The stories she's told here are just a small portion of the stories that she has to tell you in the books. And the story of just how she gets to that mountain is something most of us would read it and go, I'm not going there. So it's really incredible. And the personal issues that she's dealt with and the metaphysical shamanic issues she's dealt with have been really incredible as well. So and let her know that you've seen her here, and encourage her. And you know, we don't encourage our artists enough these days. We don't have the old patron system where we had our artists were supported. So please support our artist, and let Carol know that you're enjoying her art and enjoying her books. And we look forward to having you back next week. We look forward to having more of you coming along. If you're watching this on YouTube, please tell your friends about it. This is a very unique show. This is not so much of an interview show as it is a conversation show. We come on and we basically have a conversation about what being a priestess means to the people who are on the show at that time. And where it's going to go from there, we don't know, because we don't rehearse. Maybe we should, but we don't rehearse this. And we try to give you the most clear and honest understanding that we have of what a priestess looks like. Because truthfully, for most of us, to see what a priestess looks like, you only have to look in a mirror. So I love you very much. Hope you have a wonderful week, and that the blessings of all are upon you. Thank you very much for being with us tonight, and we look forward to having you getting in touch with Carol and letting her know about your enjoying her art and enjoying her words. She's quite remarkable. I've known her for a number of years, and she has really grown. And so I'll say good night this evening, and Carol, thank you again. Raven, thank you, and we will sign off of the broadcast now.